What's up, YouTube land? Xeno Gaming back with the next episode of our league racing, and here we are at the American Grand Prix for the Circuit of Americas for round 9 of the Sunday Night Oceania PS4 League. And this is going to be an interesting race this time around because we have a wet qualifying and race. Qualifying is a full wet situation here on the full wet tyres, heavy rain. So that's not quite ideal conditions, real poor conditions here in America. And the race is going to start dry and quickly turn to the rain. So very interesting conditions here in America. And I immediately put on a wet setup. I went for a wet setup to give me an advantage in qualifying and in the race. I would rather be a bit more comfortable in the rain than in the dry. And I did sacrifice a lot of my dry speed for the rain, so hopefully that doesn't hinder us here this afternoon. And as you can see here in our first qualifying lap, we ran off here at turn 15, and we actually got a penalty for cutting the track, but that wasn't a great lap anyway with the mistake. Here's our first legitimate run in qualifying on the full wet tyre, and as we come through, got to be very careful on the throttle. Don't want to spin the rear wheels. Just trying to be real smooth and earlier short shifting to limit the traction. And come across the line for a 51.8. We saved the battery for a lap. Now this is going to be another go here on the wet tyres. So this is the third lap on this tyre, and as we come around, actually fourth lap on this tyre. As we now come around turn 1, we're in hot lap and rich mix and just being very smooth on the throttle. And as we now come into the S's, the best part of the track, and down to 4th gear through here in the wet, and just trying to nail each corner, not trying to cut the track and invalidate that lap time. Down the 3rd gear here, short shifting the gears to limit that wheel spin for a clean exit. And now the run to the first hairpin, or actually the second hairpin on this track, and got to get a good exit here for the long straight. We get the 5th gear, and now we plant the power down to overtake mode we go, and let's hope we can get a good top speed here. We're going to just leave it in 7th. We're locking the brakes up here, as you can hear from the tyre noises, but we clipped that hairpin apex, and now got to be smooth. We're almost losing the rear end there. Very tricky conditions here at USA today for qualifying. Looking to hit this apex here. We messed up the last lap. We get it much better this time around. And now this is normally a flat out corner here in the dry, but as you can see in the wet, really got to lift off, and then you can go full throttle. Second to last corner, very exciting corner. And now the last corner, locking up the front left slightly, but it's alright. We hit the apex, we on the throttle as much as we can. The run for the line's not too important as long as you don't spin the car. We come across the line, set a 1 minute 50.6, which now puts us in first place. So that was a good lap. And now this is we came in. I was thinking about switching to the intermediate tyres, and I was going to do it, except the guys in the party chat said, nah, it's probably too wet. Even though, from looking at it now, I definitely should have put on the intermediate tyre for a better lap. But I'm still on the same wet tyres. I didn't want to use the wet tyre, the other fresh set of wets, just in case I needed it for tomorrow in the race. Well, it's not really tomorrow, for the race. And coming through turn 1, we're down, but you can see as we come through the S's, hit these much better, or much more effective this time around. We're still down, however. But now as we come through here, we are now up, and we invalidate the lap time. We're not up at the minute, actually. So that's really unfortunate, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, we get pole position here with Steve getting 2nd place on the grid, and 3rd place for Mason with Hamish in 4th. So Amiral also in 5th place in the Renault. That's your top 5 qualifying here at the United States Grand Prix. Our championship rival Harry just down in 6th place, so that's quite good news for us. And as you can see, the rain is supposed to hit midway point of the Grand Prix with light rain, then some heavy rain, and then back to light rain. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out over the course of this Grand Prix. I'm going to start in the medium tyre just to make sure we can get to that rain period. And just in general, the medium tyre is a much better race tyre than the soft tyre. The soft tyre might be good for 4 laps, and then after that I feel like there's a huge drop off, and the medium tyre becomes the quicker tyre anyway, and the tyre of choice for today here at the USA Grand Prix. So that's the thinking behind the strategy for sure. And yeah, looking forward to this Grand Prix to get a win and get back on a stranglehold and a bit more clearance in the points of the championship. I don't have the points table before the race, but I do have the points for after the race, so you'll be able to see after this Grand Prix what the points look like. So yeah, anyway, let's get into the USA Grand Prix as the anticipation waits here in America, in Texas, Austin. The revs rise for the 5 red lights. And let's go here for the US Grand Prix. And not a bad start from us, but Steve on the soft tyre gets a great start. And he immediately moves into the lead of the Grand Prix. And we're going to have to settle for second place here on the opening lap, which is a little bit unfortunate. But anyway, now we're going to have to chase down Steve on this opening lap. We got Mason in third place still behind us. And he's battling with Mish for fourth and third place. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out on the first lap. So Steve has got the tyre advantage starting on the soft tyre here. Obviously had a much better grip off the line, and you can see that paying dividends here straight away in this first sector. Runs a little bit wide though onto the curb, so he's going to lose a little time down the straight here. And that's good news for us. And as now we go down the back straight for the first time, and Mission has gotten past Mason for third place. So yeah, now we've got Hamish behind us, who is pretty much on par with pace with me at America from the practices we did in the dry. He was maybe even quicker on a race pace. Maybe I probably had him on qualifying pace in my opinion, but it would have been very interesting if this was a full dry race to see how that result would have shaken down. And I believe, I'm not sure how the pace would have compared to Harry, and I believe Brett as well was even supposed to be quite quick. It was going to be a very interesting race if it had been dry, but it wasn't, as Steve has built up a nice lead on his soft tyres as he needs to do here. Second lap here, and we're closing a little bit. We're much quicker in the first part of the lap, I noticed. We were very quick in the first sector, but you can see there's a yellow flag there, and somebody is out of the race, can't quite make out the game tag from the preview window, and that has deployed the safety car. So now moving to the end of lap 4, and the safety car is ready to come in. As you can see, the sky is getting much darker, so the rain is on its way here in America. And we're going to have to get a good restart here compared to Steve and Hamish behind. He's not really waited up for the safety car too much, but this he's going to have to go now, and he's still warming his tyres as we come around the last corner, and I plant the throttle, and he doesn't accelerate. We cross the line, and I'm now alongside, so another good restart there for Steve. And now we're alongside into turn 1, and he's got a bit more straight line speed than us, but we managed to brake for turn 1, take the apex, and he's going to try and get the switch back on us now. Can he go around the outside through turn 2? We cover that off, we use the full width of the track, and we take first place here on lap 5 of the American Grand Prix, as we now skip to the end of lap 5, and it has started to rain. So you can see the rain has started to fall on the track, and there's decisions to be made. Do we need to pit? And you see the strategy is coming up on the screen. This is the first lap it started raining for intermediate tyres. I decide to enable that, but we're going to go one more lap. I don't think it's quite ready for inters yet. We can definitely get another lap here out on the dry tyres. But behind, a few guys do immediately come in for the intermediate tyre. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. And we haven't exactly gapped Steve either, who's on the soft tyre, which probably has a little bit more grip in these conditions as well. You can see we lost the rear end out of turn 1, and now coming through the chicane. The grip at this point is still okay. We're a little bit wide there. We pick up our first warning for cutting the track, so that was a bit unfortunate. And I remember 3 warnings and you get a 3-second penalty, which has cost us the last couple of races here in the Oceania League, and we need to keep those to a minimum as if possible. And we're definitely going to come in this lap because the grip is already falling away, and it seems like the dry tyre can't handle it. We run very wide here through turn 11, I believe that is, as now we make the way down the back straight, and I definitely knew I was coming into the pits after this corner. As you see, we brake earlier and the car just had no grip on the dryers, locked up, went off the track, and Steve makes the same mistake and actually hits us, probably breaks a bit of his front wing, and Hamish is also off the track. So definitely time to come in for intermediate tyres. The rain has fallen very quickly here in America, and you can see there's just absolutely no grip in this third sector. It's like we're just driving on ice. No grip whatsoever. You can see we're doing 80 k's and just losing the back end out of that turn 15 as we come through turn 16 and 17 in 4th gear doing 160 k's. So it's definitely time for intermediate tyres, and this is where the wet setup, I hope, is paying dividends for me. Having higher aero and ride height and lowering the brake pressure as well is critical in these conditions, as we now pit for the intermediate tyre here on lap 7 of this Grand Prix. Everybody that was on the dry tyre is coming into the pits, and I also I felt as soon as the rain changed, something was going a bit weird with the force feedback with my wheel, so I am here just adjusting these settings real quick just before we get back onto the racetrack, and yep, do that real quickly. And now that felt immediately a lot better as we come back out. As you can see, Infinite March in the Ferrari has come out directly behind us. He was running at about 10th place, and now he's directly behind us. Well, I'm not exactly where he was, but moving to lap 8, Hamish is now the next lap, and he gets past March on that lap. And you can see the gap though we have built over the rest of the field here. Anyway, this is now moving to lap 17. That was all very quickly. We built up quickly. Hamish actually closed the gap down. He was a bit quicker in these intermediate conditions. We had about 3 seconds, and Mirrell has made his way into 3rd place, and he's probably closing, not quickly enough to where he's going to bother us at this stage. Anyway, on the lap 17 here, nothing's really happened. Hamish hasn't really gotten close enough to make an overtake yet. He really hasn't got within half a second of us. He's there, but he's not bothering me, and he's not really forcing me into any mistakes as long as I just hit the apexes. He's there and he's not bothering me. And then we get this strategy call from Jeff to go to full wet tyre, and the only reason I did this is because he was right about the intermediate tyres, and I was like, if he thinks it's going to be full wet, let's go for it. I'm going to trust Jeff and the game here. And we come into the pits for the full wet tyres. Hamish follows me in, and Mirrell follows me in as well, and Aaron in the other Renault was the only other driver to put on the full wets, but he was running down the order. Everybody else stayed on the intermediate tyres. They actually came in. You can see that's why we have such a big gap, and we were able to retain the lead because they came in the lap previous for another set of intermediate tyres. And so yeah, now we're on the full wet tyre as we come back out in the lead. We've got quite a nice gap, but you can see here now moving to lap 22, Zach in the Toro Rosso is catching the top 3. I've made a gap over Mish, who's now dropping back into the clutches of a mirror. You can see I'm locking up quite heavily into turn 13 or turn 12 actually. Anyway, Zach in the Toro Rosso is catching us at quite a rapid pace. We're probably losing a second a lap, and I thought I'm not gonna win this race if I stay out in the full wet tyres. The grip isn't really here on these tyres. We've made the wrong call. I was going a lot slower compared to when I was on intermediate tyres, so I made the decision to come back in for another set of intermediates, which is because I thought this was the best way to win the Grand Prix. I thought if I stayed out in the full wets, I wasn't going to win the race. So that was the decision I took at the time. It was a split second decision, if I can get my words out. Hamish also followed me in. He was kind of just mirroring what I did. And Amiral actually made a bit of a mistake on entering into the pit lane. I believe he broke his front wing, so that's really cost Amiral. As you can see, Zach goes into the lead. He's now got quite a lead. Harry moves past us for second place, and Steve moves into third place. So we've lost the lead here, and we've lost the podium. And now with 5 laps to go, we've got a little bit of fuel to play with. We've got all our ERS in reserve, and now we're just going to push like hell for the rest of the Grand Prix. We're on 5-lap fresher tyres, and it's, you know, we should be a lot quicker here as we catch right up to the back of Steve as he's struggling. It looks like he's struggling with these conditions and his tyre situation. I'm not sure if he was actually struggling, but we're just a lot quicker here as we now come into turn 11, and we stick the car up the inside as we got a lot more confidence on the brakes, and now we're short shifting. We've got much better traction out the corner, so the fresher tyres working a treat here. And you can see, I'm not sure if he was running a wet setup because he is much quicker in a straight line than me here. I've got a much wetter setup. I've got a wet setup in the car, and you can see how that affects straight line speed. It doesn't affect my cornering though, and my braking. So we go right back up the inside. Now we're on our. It took us till lap 27 to catch up to the back of Harry, which is a little frustrating. Would have liked to catch him a little bit quicker. At this stage, we don't have a 3-second penalty. We have Harry beat on penalties. He had 9 seconds worth of penalties to this stage of the race. So I knew I had him beat, but I wasn't sure if I had Zach beaten first. So I knew I had to get past Harry, and I knew I couldn't pick up a penalty. That was critical. That's what I was saying to myself. I can't pick up a penalty. One more warning, and I do get a penalty. So that's what I'm trying to be mindful of here. And we're also following Harry. And as we come here through turn 10, I cut a little bit too much of the inside track. We pick up our first 3-second penalty, which probably rules us any chance of a race win out the door, which is really unfortunate. As now we jump in the slipstream of Harry. We had a little look into turn 12, but nothing was doing. Turn 11, but nothing was doing. As now we're going to have a look into turn 12. He has got much better straight line speed, but once again we're much more confident on the brakes. We're going to go as deep into the corner. We pretty much side by side now. We get a better exit. We're going to try and close the door, but we leave him the space. He goes back up the inside, and we get a much better run on the fresher tyres. And now we brake for turn 15, back to first gear very conservatively on the brakes, and we get the job done into that corner. And now checking how many penalties Zach has. He has 6 seconds worth of penalties compared to our 3. So we have to get this gap to under 3 seconds. But unfortunately for us, we are not able to do that in this one lap we have remaining. So congratulations to Zach on getting his first victory in the Trans Nations Oceania League, as me and Harry had won all Grand Prix so far. So big congratulations to him for breaking the drought for the other drivers. And yeah, it was just he started last on the grid, so big effort from him. He had a crash on the first lap as well. So to go from last to having a broken front wing, being at the back, to coming through and taking the win is an unbelievable result. And he made the right strategy call, and he didn't make any mistakes after the safety car, really. So and he made his way through the field, made the right calls at the right time, and he comes through to win the race. So, you know, incredible drive, and if I do say so myself. And I'll happily take a second place. It helps me in the championship towards Harry, as he's my main rival. He ends up finishing 4th due to penalties. Steve gets a podium for 3rd, so a good day from him, starting 2nd, leading early in this Grand Prix and managing to get a podium. It's hurt Hamish's result today, going to the wet tyres. He has thrown a potential win away, maybe, or definitely a podium for 5th place. And same as Amiral, who ends up down in 6th place, unfortunately for him. So, you know, these things happen. Sometimes you just get it wrong, and yeah, that's very unfortunate, but that's the way wet races go sometimes. As we now come here, this is the driver standings between me and Harry, and it's very close. So yeah, we'll have to just keep fighting. We have an 11-point lead with 2 rounds to go in the Constructors. We also lead over the Alfa Romeo team, so Anyway guys, that's been today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the next league race video. I'm not sure which one that will be. Until then, goodbye.